Hello everyone, factoring into today's second video, we're going to have a look at the JMA and CFS V2 models for today's second video for the next 4 weeks. So yes, it's JMA Friday, it's your month-ahead look ahead, and we're going to see what the Japanese and CFS models are forecasting for the next 4 weeks for the UK, and I'll get on that for you very shortly. Just to say that first video really say was the weekend forecast for Europe. We did the American weekend forecast last night. We got the weekend forecast for Europe just released for you this morning, and coming up later on this afternoon we'll have the regular week 10 day video update with all of the usual features included in that one as well. So check that out if you'd like to do that. Right then, let's go on with JMA Friday. So I'm going to start off with 500 millibar high dynamic flow charts from the Arctic and North Pole view down. So of course we've got the Arctic circle up here, and then of course we've got the wider mid latitudes around there. Blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure. Yellow, orange and red extrapolate to above average heights, which is high pressure. These 500 millibar height anomalies are broken down into weekly periods. So first weekly period will take us from today, the 22nd of May, through to the 29th. The coming week we'll have an area of above average heights sitting over and to the south of the country, with below average heights out to the northwest. High pressure is back in business in the weekend, bringing lots of dry, fine and potentially warm or very warm weather to much of the UK and indeed to much of Western Europe as well. It does look as though it's a bit cooler on the eastern side of Europe with this trough of low pressure. However, overall this looks like a warm and a dry week to come across the UK and Ireland. Very little change to go through into week 2. This 29th of May to 5th of June. Area of above average heights then is again sort of across the northern parts of Europe, through Scandinavia into the UK. It extends back into the Atlantic as well. Below average heights are pushing northwards a little bit like that. So looks like we're mainly under high pressure again. High pressure might weaken a little bit through this early part of June. The colours aren't quite as intense as they are in week 1. So we might see a slight weakening of the ridge, maybe allowing some showery bursts to come through at times. But essentially, we're still under high pressure, still lots of dry, fine, and you would have thought very warm weather with that. And then through to weeks 3 and 4, which takes us from the 5th through to the 19th of June, we start to set up an area of above average heights out to our west, with some below average heights to our east. Excuse me, and this could start to leave us bringing in a little bit more of a northwesterly type flow. So high pressure pulling out into the Atlantic. There's a trough setting up over Scandinavia, albeit quite a smallish trough, and this might start to pull in some rather not necessarily unsettled conditions. There's no particular sign of unsettled weather there, I wouldn't have thought, but it might start to bring in some rather more showery weather perhaps, and just generally a little bit cooler, a little bit more showery as we go through that sort of first half of June. It's 15th to the 19th of June, so it does actually take us into the second half of the month just about. Remember, it's a 2-weekly anomaly, so it could be transitional. We may still have a lot of high pressure dominating in week 3, and then we might go to sort of a trough of low pressure or something in week 4. You can never totally rule that out with a 2-weekly anomaly. Certainly nothing too dramatic showing up, though, over the next 4 weeks. This is the tropical and mid-latitude view, so the British Isles in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it on this view. And again, we have the area of above average heights that's sitting sort of to our west and our southwest and into the country through this week. This is week 1, by the way. We can't see the Arctic and Scandinavia and Greenland and that sort of view, but we know what's happening there because we just had a look at it. So again, week 1, we've got high pressure ridging in from the Azores. The Azores high is very, very dominant in week 1, bringing lots of dry and fine conditions. Temperature anomalies for week 1, going from the 23rd, 29th of May, are above average, quite significantly so, like 1, 2, 3 degrees above average, so it's a very warm week coming up. And precipitation anomaly is mostly on the drier than average side, except across a very, very far north scarp. It's a little bit wetter than average up there, but otherwise we're mostly on the drier than average side for week 1. We go through to week 2, and this is from the 29th of May through to 5th of June, again with the above average heights extending in from the Atlantic into the UK and on into Northern Europe as well. You'd expect this to be another relatively dry set of week. Temperature anomalies are still holding up quite well, with an anomaly of around 1 to 2 degrees above average, particularly so for England and Wales. So it's another warm week to come. Not quite as warm as it is in week 1, but it is still quite significantly warmer than average. And of course, with high pressure in control, it's still still drier than average as well. So weeks 1 and 2, basically very warm and dry with the JMA. A bit of a change though, as we go through to weeks 3 and 4, we take the ridge out to our west. The above average heights moves out to west. The below average heights sort of over northern part of Scandinavia, and or some part of Scandinavia I should say, and that could start to allow something a little bit cooler to come in from the northwest, and possibly a little bit more showery too. We do see a bit of a drop in temperature here from the 5th to the 19th of May, just going ever so slightly downwards across the far north of the country, but otherwise it's close to average really for most parts of the country. But it does hint that perhaps a bit of a cool down there as we move into weeks 3 and 4. And not particularly wet, but certainly indications that it might go a little bit more showery as well, especially for more northern and western parts of the country. So just maybe a few hints of a little bit of a deterioration as we go further on into June with the JMA today. But certainly weeks 1 and 2 looking very dry and very warm. Let's see how the CFS compares. So again, these are 500 millibar heights, so they're broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period is going to take us from the 29th to 28th of May. The coming week, again, dominated by high pressure ridging up from the southwest into northern Europe. Below average heights over towards Greenland, Iceland. Jet stream gets pushed northwards. Loads of dry, fine, warm or very warm weather to come in the week ahead. Change over week 2, and this is different to what the JMA is showing. This is the 29th of May to the 4th of June, looking more unsettled. The above average heights pulling away from us into the middle of the Atlantic. Below average heights coming in from the northwest. We start to line up jet stream northwest to southeast. That starts to turn cooler and more unsettled as we come to the very end of May and the beginning of June. So that definitely looks cooler and more unsettled. At this point, the JMA for week 2 still wants to have high pressure and control of the weather, really. So there is a discrepancy between the two models as early as the second week. Moving through to week 3, this is the 5th through to the 11th of June. This one also looks a little bit unsettled with the CFS. Below average heights again just to the north of the country. Above average heights again out into the middle of the Atlantic. So the jet stream with that's doing something a bit like that. And yes, that one could also be rather cool and rather showery. And then move through to week 4, it looks like the high pressure begins to reassert itself then. This is the 12th to the 18th of June, with above average heights, high pressure beginning to extend in from the Atlantic and also over to eastern parts of Europe. That's quite a large ridge of high pressure, goes all the way back to the eastern side of America. Actually, so a very large ridge of high pressure beginning to get going there. Below average heights being pushed northwards with jet stream. So that one looks like it's going much drier and potentially a lot warmer again as we come through into the middle part of June into week 4. Temperature anomalies are looking like this. So week 1, 22nd, 28th of May, warmer than average for England and Wales, near normal for Scotland. It's not a particularly big deviation either way, but certainly it is warmer than average for England and Wales, quite significantly so. And I would have thought that's going to be a little bit warmer than that. I think that's been on the pessimistic side actually for northern parts of the country, so I would expect that to be quite a bit warmer up in the north. It's not a big deviation up in the north either way, but I would think even northern parts of the country like to be warmer than average in the week ahead. And for England and Wales, I think we do have quite a warm week coming up. However, we go through to week 2 and look at this. It's going cooler than average. It's 29th of May to 4th of June. Temperatures dipping down below average there as we move into the start of June, becoming quite cool. Those cool temperature anomalies continue into week 3 as well. This is the 5th to the 11th of June. That also is a cooler than average week. And not much of a recovery into week 4 either. So by week 4, we're building the ridge back in from the Atlantic. But again, the temperature anomaly from the 12th to the 18th of June doesn't look anything to write home about. Just very close to average. Not as cool as it is in weeks 2 and 3, but it's nothing to write home about. And so after this first week, actually it looks like we're possibly going to something rather cooler if the CFS is right. Precipitation-wise, finally, so again, this is week 1, precipitation anomaly from the 22nd to 28th of May. Most parts of the country looking drier than average, especially so for England and Wales, although it is a little bit wetter than average for northwestern parts of Scotland. Week 2, precipitation anomaly from the 28th of May to the 4th of June. That one also looking close to average for precipitation. So it implies that it goes a little bit more unsettled actually down in the southeast and just stays rather mixed up in the north. Week 3, which is the 5th to the 11th of June, also hints at being a bit wetter than average. So a more unsettled interlude through week 2 and 3, definitely. Then no real signal as we get through to week 4. It's the 12th to the 18th of June. No real signal for that week. So it's a little bit mixed, actually, this, and maybe slightly surprisingly so. It does look as though we've got a very warm week to come. There'll be lots of very warm weather and a lot of dry weather too. Now, the JMA wants to extend that out to week 2 as well, before it starts to hint at something a little bit cooler, a little bit more showery. The CFS, though, after that warm first week, really is going a lot more unsettled and quite a lot cooler as well. So it's a bit of a confused picture what's happening here as we move through to the start of June. Could we be starting to see signs of an early June deterioration of the weather pattern and something rather cooler and more unsettled coming up through the early part of June? So it'll be interesting where the JMA is going next week, but at the moment I would say the signals are looking rather mixed for the first half of June. If we read between the lines with these models, definitely the CFS is the most mixed of the two, but even the JMA kind of hints, takes a little bit longer to get there, but even the JMA kind of hints of something a little bit more unsettled perhaps, and a little bit more showery, let's say, as we go further on into June. So it'll be interesting how this unfolds. It's just a snapshot of what these models are showing. They could both look very, very different next week when we do next week's JMA Friday, but possibly just a few hints of something a little bit more mixed through the first half of June. We shall see. Right, we're going to be back later on with your regular week 10-day video update. That will include all of the usual features, so come back for that then. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.